I've been rich 3 times, and the first 2 times I lost it. And I didn't grow up with a lot of money. It's been very important to me. I think economic security is really important. And I think there's a series of habits and character traits that can help you get to economic security. You know that study that you become the average of your 5 closest friends? Same body mass index, same politics, same sports team, same neighborhood. What they don't talk about is that amongst those 5 people, even if they're all making about the same amount of money, one will end up much more economically well off than the other 4. I'm trying to understand the behaviors of that one person who becomes economically secure by the time they're my age without making a lot more money than their colleagues.
Where did you learn about money?
That rings so true. So I think of 3 things. The first is the smartest thing I ever did was it gave me access to free education at the University of California and access, 76% admissions rate. When I applied to UCLA, the admissions rate this year is 9%. I came of professional age in the 90s when the internet was coming online. So I sort of had these winds at my back. And I didn't even realize at the time what privilege or unfair advantage I had. So the first is just sheer luck. The second is environmental. I very early decided that economic security was really important to me. And I want to be clear, you can't make a decision to be wealthy. A lot of it is luck. But I was going to be very committed. My goal in life from 0 to 45 wasn't to be a good person. It wasn't to save the whales. It wasn't to have strong relationships. It was to get economic security. So I started connecting the dots around money pretty early. And then along the lines of experiences with my family and friends. Well, you need a goal and you need to be thoughtful about how much money you're going to need. So if you figure out I'm going to need 80,000 pounds a year to live, the definition of rich is having a ton of shit and impress your friends. The definition of wealth is knowing that the passive income that you would get from growth from your stocks or dividends or incomes or rental income is greater than your burn. So you work because you want to, not because you need to. That's the definition of wealth. By the way, a lot of my successes, if I'd been born in Europe, I don't think I'd have that number. Europe's not as forgiving of entrepreneurs that have failed. I've had a lot of failure. So the smartest thing I've ever done was being born in California. I'm just talking about someone who wants to be an economic animal. Your success is especially impressive because on average, people who get a college degree earn 50 to 100% more over the course of their life. There's an entire set of industries that are off limits to people that don't have credentialing. We not only didn't hire people without college degrees, we didn't hire people that didn't go to one of 8 universities. The second thing is get to a super city. 2/3 of all economic growth over the next 30 years is going to take place in one of 20 cities. So if you're in that small town in Italy, you want to get to Milan as quickly as possible. And then if you can, you want to get to London as quickly as possible, or Munich, or a bigger city. And then quite frankly, if you have total geographic agility and flexibility, ignoring the ridiculous INS of the US, you want to get to New York or San Francisco. Because to be good in San Francisco is much better than being amazing in Stuttgart. And when you're young, you can be in a city because you can live in a 400 square foot apartment. You can be out of the house all day. You can dance between the raindrops and make money. But when you are in a city, you know how when you play tennis, if you play with someone much better than you, it elevates your game? Mm-hmm. When you're in a city, you're playing against Serena Williams every day. Everyone is smart. Everyone is well-dressed. Everyone is working hard. Everyone is taking chances. And you are surrounded by people who are very successful, and you are going to bump off professional and personal opportunity every day. So if you're young, what do you have? You have agility geographically. But the first is focus. Go all in on something. Once you workshop in your 20s, once you find something you're really good at, that you could be in the top 1% at. And here's the key part, as we referenced before, that has a 90+% employment rate. And 90% of industries have that. But if you can be in the top 10% of an industry that has a 90+% employment rate, you're going to make really good money. Try not to have side hustles. If you have a side hustle, it means your main hustle isn't working. Use side hustle to workshop new main hustles. But once you find something you're really good at, go all in on it. That might just be for you a means to an end where you're workshopping other stuff to say, how do I get to school? How do I get to training? How do I find a better job? How do I save for a 1-year apprenticeship program to become an electrician? How do I start meeting people? You got to pay your bills. There's dignity in all work. I coach a lot of young men, and the first thing I say is, you got to start making some money.